On this episode of Road Trip Masters, we cruise into a town that has a train running down its main street.
Then travel to Louisville to see how an American legend is made. It makes the player look cool.
We'll kick back some whiskey,
I sip and enjoy, and somebody chugs.
pound down a hot brown,
Wow, is that fantastic?
And visit some former racers that grace the grounds at Churchill Downs.
so sit back, relax, and let us do the driving right here on Road Trip Masters. I'm Nick Kessler.
And I'm Brian Fulmer,
We're teachers that have a passion for travel.
cruising the highways and byways in our 1968 drop-top caddy.
We discover the places and people that make this nation great. We are Road Trip Masters. This week, we're headed down Route 71 to Grange, Kentucky. Located in Oldham County and 30 minutes outside of Louisville, Grange was established in 1827 and named after an estate in France that was once owned by the American Revolutionary War hero Marquis de Lafayette. Today, one can commonly hear the clickety-clack of the locomotive roaring down Grange's main street and experience the collection of unique shops, art galleries, eateries, and other area attractions. Located just outside of Grange is the Bluegrass Country Estate, a unique bed and breakfast that offers its guests a relaxing experience, all while being surrounded by the stunning countryside and, yes, horses. And that's where I caught up with Cheryl, the owner of this beautiful B&B.
Here we are, Cheryl. Absolutely beautiful place.
Thank you.
I'm going to call it the Bluegrass Country Inn and Estate.
It is.
Tell us about the room situation.
We've got a total of 5 rooms. One room, which is the Run for the Roses, was done after my mother. People tend to like that room just because it's very cozy. It has all antique furniture in it. Another room, the Philly room, was based on the statue that we have out here. Another room is the Ascot room, which is after England, since I lived in England for 4 years. Then the other one is a steeplechase suite. It's a combination of antiques in there, and it's just a much bigger room.
So everything is following almost like your life, your positive influences, and so forth.
Yep, and then downstairs we have the turf room, which is kind of a play on horses and golf, a full movie theater room, and a full gym.
Down in the home theater,
Yeah,
there's a special story because there's pictures on the wall.
yep.
What can you tell us about that?
Well, they're all originals. My mother worked for Paramount Studios for 40-some years.
So name some of the actors or actresses that are down there.
Ava Gardner, Claudette Colbert, Elvis, of course.
Elvis?
Is there, of
Your
course.
mom knew Elvis?
She did.
You have the stable there. You have 2 of your own.
Yep.
And for people coming, they can bring their own horse?
Yes, we don't allow them to ride our horses, but they can bring their own horses with them, and then I can take them out on the trails as my guest. I wanted it to be an upscale, beautiful place for somebody to visit that represented Kentucky.
I think you nailed it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're looking forward to our stay, Cheryl.
Thank you.
We're excited.
Well, we're excited to have you.
All right.
So after settling in at the beautiful Bluegrass Estate, Brian and I decided to go for a drive, landing us at the Main Street Bourbon and Ale House for some food, drinks, and a perfect view of the train rolling through town. This is where Brian met up with Chef Kevin.
Kevin, we're back in the kitchen. What do you have for us today?
Today we're going to be doing a hot brown, which consists of toasted bread, just cut in half. Got turkey, tomatoes, bacon, cheese, regular bechamel sauce, just a thick milk sauce. This goes in the oven. This is going to all melt down and just kind of ooze out and be bubbly and delicious looking.
All right, so we just put it in, slides it right down,
Yep.
and then we wait. Such a simple dish.
Oh yeah. I mean, we like to keep things simple around here, so what's not to love about bread, cheese, bacon?
All right, and that's it.
Be nice, hot, and bubbly.
Took very little time. And voila, the crispness, the bubbly, as you said, beautiful. All right, so I have this one, but my buddy's at the bar, and I told him I'd get him something to eat. Do you mind whipping another one up for me?
I guess.
All right.
While Brian waited in the kitchen for the second round of the hot brown, I met up with Linda, who mixed us up some liquid treats.
All right.
Hey, buddy, what'd you get us?
I got us some hot browns.
I got us a Manhattan and an old fashioned made with a local bourbon whiskey.
I say we go out to the deck and maybe we could see if that train passes by.
Sounds like a plan.
And there it was, a locomotive chugging right along through the heart of Lagrange. A perfect show for the perfect Kentucky meal.
All right, Brian, we got to dig in.
Absolutely.
After that train passing through town, hot brown, big chunk.
Wow, is that fantastic?
After we finish these things off, I say we hit the main street of Lagrange.
Absolutely.
Located 30 minutes from Lagrange is the legendary Louisville Bat Company. And since Brian and I are both sports enthusiasts, we just had to check out their newly renovated factory experience tour that gives each visitor an in-depth, behind-the-scenes look on how these wooden bats are made. We started this tour off, shall we say, on hallowed ground.
All right, guys, well, welcome to the Bat Vault. We call this the Fort Knox of Louisville Slugger. We've got some special gloves for you guys to handle the artifacts with. So these are the original templates our craftsmen used. For many, many years, up until the early 1980s, we were still hand-turning bats for Major League ball players. You never want to make a copy from a copy, so these are all the originals here.
PJ showed us Joe DiMaggio's famous D29 bat, which led him to a 56-game hitting streak in 1941, and Hank Aaron's iconic A99 bat, which was created on July 20th, 1961. But we just had to lay our hands on the King of Kings, the legend of all legends, the bat of all bats.
All right, this is the R43. This is the model that we designed
That is
for
the
Babe
legend.
Ruth. This is it, the great Bambino.
Man, wow.
You know, a lot of people, when they get the Babe Ruth model in their hand, they're expecting this giant tree trunk of a bat. And, you know, there's a lot of great stories about Babe, and you know, some of them are myth. And, you know, his bat was fairly normal looking. I mean, people expected this huge monster of a bat, and it wasn't. It was a fairly thin handle for that time. So it became a very popular model.
Well, PJ, where do we go after the vault?
You want to go to the factory?
Absolutely. I want to see how you make these
All
bats.
right, let's do it.
All right, let's roll. All right, Brian, here we are, right in the CNC area, and it's loud.
Yes.
So, PJ, these are where the MLB prime bats are made?
Correct. All of our major league bats, our minor league bats, our very high-end retail prime bats, and then our international pro orders. Anywhere they're playing professional baseball, this is where their bats are going to be made over here in our CNC area.
After these cuts of wood are grain line tested, they are put into a CNC lathe that can shape these bats with an accuracy up to 31 thousandths of an inch. Then it's off to the drum sander to give these bats a nice smooth surface.
When you are using the sander, is it a fine sanding?
It starts off as a rougher grit, and then as it moves through that drum, it's going through a finer grit. By the time it finishes, it'll be nice and smooth.
All right, PJ, where to next?
We're going to take you guys over to bone rubbing.
All right, bone rubbing.
So for many years, ball players would take a bone, like a ham bone or some kind of other bone, and rub it up and down the barrel of their bat. The hope was you're going to close the pores on that bat, give it a little bit of a harder hitting surface. And so we actually created this machine over here, and it's going to close the pores on that bat. It's going to move up and down the barrel of that bat, go all the way around that bat, and close the pores on this barrel, give it a nice hard hitting surface.
So again, toughen up the surface, get a better pop off the bat.
Exactly.
Now that these bats have their foundation, it's time for them to be sent over to the Pro Finish department to be customized. From texture to branding, this is where the identity of each Louisville bat is born. Brian even got the chance to get his hands on one of the custom bats.
This is none other than the great Cody Bellinger's bat right here.
So this is the actual bat that I'm holding.
Before he does.
Don't tell him.
PJ then surprised us with our very own Road Trip Masters prime bats. Two absolute beauties that will forever be displayed in our man caves.
Well, PJ, I guess that concludes the bat making process. There's only one thing left to do. Brian?
Test the bat.
That's your hand and get some swings in the cages. Swing and a miss. You haven't done it in a while.
Come on, buddy. That's the one. That's it?
You're good.
All right.
PJ, Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks so much for coming by, guys.
Absolutely. Thank you, PJ.
Yeah, safe trip in that caddy.
Brian, here we are, legendary Buffalo Trace, and we got Patrick here.
I can't believe how we jumped over the fence to get in here.
Patrick, what are we gonna see? I know Buffalo Trace makes a plethora of products.
Today we're actually dumping our antique collection. We've got the George T. Stagg we've dumped, and we're about to refill those barrels.
That's how it's gonna be bottled up and sold.
Yes.
Okay.
So that'll be barrel proof. Roughly, we'd expect around 140 proof.
Wow, that's a lot, Brian.
It's 15 years old.
Woo! So Patrick, it's safe to say that this process that we're seeing happens one time a year, but you only take it out of the barrel and re-put it in just with this brand, correct?
There's several brands that we do that with, and it's just one time a year that we do this.
So we're here at a special time.
Very, very special time.
So we decided to take advantage of this rare opportunity and get hands-on and uncork one of these puppies.
I split the damn thing.
Next, the precious liquid gold is pumped into its new home, topped off, then filled to the rim, where it is recorked and sent away to age to perfection.
Tell you what, Patrick, feels great in this spot.
Yeah, there's some air conditioning in here, a little better, a little cooler in here.
So what are we bottling up?
Here we're bottling the antique collection, so it's the Weller antique collection at 107, and these are SBS barrels.
All right, so the bottling process, how many bottles will you kick out of this facility?
This is a brand new operation. We've just expanded into this building and enhanced its capabilities. So we're running about 30 barrels a day out of here. We have 3 other craft bottling facilities. There's one that's a very small 2-barrel operation, and then there's the Blanton building as well, where that's actually about 12 barrels at a time, and they'll do that on 2 different shifts.
Are they bottling Blantons right now?
It would either be some Takara or Blantons, but I believe we're doing Blantons today.
Is there any way we could see the little classic horse head get put on the bottle?
We possibly could.
All right, Brian, what do you think?
I'm in.
Here we are, Brian, with a new guy, Lee.
Tour guide, Nick, not new guy. Tour guide.
So, Lee, with Blantons here. And we also have the Eagle Rare also going on the other line. 2 classics here at Buffalo Trace. What makes them so special?
Blanton's is the original single barrel bourbon. A lot like Albert Blanton used to do. Just 1 barrel at a time. He'd do it for friends and family and things like that, holidays, Christmas. But nobody done it at a commercial scale yet. The rest, as they say, is history.
You know, there's a couple unique things, Lee. You get into this building, and it's not that big. It's really tiny, and you're expecting this huge bottling plant, but you don't see that.
No.
And then the bourbon barrels are coming literally right in, dumping.
Yep, 1 at a time.
It's like I'm stepping back in time.
There's very little change, but for the most part, we're doing things the way things have been done here for 200 years.
When you look at the iconic cap, you always hear these stories. Any truths about them?
Well, there are 8 different stoppers. Each horse has a little circle at the heel of the horse, and you put them together just right, it spells out Blanton's.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Hey, Brian.
No, not that one. Well, I think the next place we'll go will be to our historic Warehouse C, one of our aging warehouses built in 1885.
All right, sounds good. Let's go.
All right.
That's right, the legendary Warehouse C, which holds the title of the oldest warehouse on the distillery grounds.
Here we are, almost at the intersection, the crossroads.
It's amazing, Lee, the amount of barrels in this warehouse alone, just on this floor. What would you say numbers-wise we're looking at?
There are approximately 24,000 barrels just in this one warehouse. Each barrel holds 53 gallons. Each barrel weighs nearly 550 pounds when it's full. Whew. The building's built in 1885. We're standing on the lowest floor.
I mean, run.
Yeah, stand here as long as you're comfortable. No, it's a very well-built building. I mean, it's been standing since 1885 after all.
Now, let me ask you, Lee, where's the 23-year-old Pappy hiding at?
Well, it could be just about anywhere. It could be that some of the barrels just right here could someday be that 23-year-old Pappy Van Winkle.
Well, I don't know about you, Nick, but what I do know is I'm ready to taste some of this stuff.
So it was time to enter paradise at Buffalo Trace's tasting room, where Lee poured his heavenly spirits. Everything we sampled was crafted to perfection, offering its own distinct flavor profiles right to the last drop.
All right, buddy. Cheers. Lee, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Lee,
It was a pleasure and an honor to show you around a little bit. Thanks for coming. Come back and see us again.
You have an incredible operation here that everybody needs to see. What a facility.
And our tours are free.
That's great. I'll see you at the 1 o'clock showing.
Excellent.
Located in the heart of LaGrange is the Oldham County Museum. The artifacts are plentiful, like the ones from Henry Bibb, who escaped slavery through the Underground Railroad. Henry was instrumental in starting the first black newspaper in Canada. One can also see a collection of his stories and narratives, along with other artifacts that were owned by him. The museum also houses exhibits on D.W. Griffith, who was a filmmaker during the early part of the 20th century. He is primarily responsible for creating the first feature-length film and pioneered many cinematic techniques, such as the close-up, that are still used in the movie industry today. The Oldham County Museum also comes complete with a replica prison cell of the Kentucky State Reformatory. View the prisoner artwork that they have created and also see the many different types of weapons confiscated at the reformatory. But one area in the museum caught our eye, and that was the exhibit dedicated to a man named Earl Bennett, who was a soldier that served in World War II. And that's where Helen, the museum's educator and genealogist, filled us in on more.
Well, Helen, what do you have for us here?
Well, Earl Bennett is one of the men we feature. That was in World War II. We have his scrapbook with his memorabilia. We're lucky to have his Purple Heart, so yeah.
And then here you have a letter.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about that.
That is, I believe, his mother's scrapbook. She kept, of course, all the things that he sent home to her before he died and everything.
And if you read it, it's not a letter that any parent would want to get.
Right, it's not. It's probably the worst letter you would want to get.
I mean, I used to hear about this growing up from my grandparents and such, and now to actually see one of the letters, the amount of emotions, by the time you get midway through is devastating.
Yeah, well, it makes you think about all that they went through, all that the soldiers sacrificed for us.
This museum is a true treasure in Oldham County, and we found another place which honors heroes of a different kind.
Susan, we're in Kentucky. We cannot leave unless we get to see some horses. And I understand you're the lady to talk to. Can you tell us about Second Stride?
Second Stride started in 2005. The idea is to help transition the racehorses from the area to new, safe, loving homes. Let them find something else to do once they've retired from the racetrack.
So you are taking an actual racehorse that's been in the Derby, perhaps the Preakness, the Belmont, along with various other tracks throughout the country.
Correct.
What kind of racehorses do we have? Do we have some with some type of provenance?
We have a horse today we're gonna bring out, Far Right, who raced in the 2015 Derby against American Pharaoh. He came to us with a slight injury. We have rehabilitated him, and he's ready for his new career.
Brian, I can't wait to see the massiveness, the muscles, and I can't wait till Susan saddles this horse up and you and I get to ride it.
Not together.
So we left it to the pros to handle Far Right, like Susan's daughter, Lila. But before hitting the dirt, she had to strap this beautiful horse up for the ride.
Now, Lila, are you nervous?
No.
Not at all.
No. He's a sweet boy.
Fully confident.
Yeah, I'd say that.
And we're going to evaluate you on a 10-point system, 10 being the highest.
Yep.
And good luck.
Thank you.
Okay. What are you laughing at, Mom?
That was just 2,000 pounds effortlessly, just trotting right by.
Apparently it's not a trot.
It's a canter.
Canter. Guess we got to know. I told you we didn't know much about horses.
Absolutely not. I never said I was a horse expert, that's for sure.
After an impressive ride, Lila took Far Right back to the stable, where he'll wait for his next Kentucky stroll.
Well, Brian, another successful road trip in the books.
Oh, absolutely. Kentucky, I loved it. What a great adventure, and what great beauty.
Until next time, I'm Nick Kessler.
And I'm Brian Fulmer. Stay curious, my friends.
Safe travels.
On this episode of Road Trip Masters, we kick it drop-top style and cruise into a town that holds the title as the Decoy capital of the world.
And then take in a classic Creole dish that is the envy of the town.
Seafood etouffee.
Etta who?
Etouffee.
We haul in some fish,
is going to be dinner for somebody.
run into trouble racing on the bay,
I need room at the mark, Sandy!
And try our hand at making some ducks.
Okay, you're done.
That's all coming up and more
Right here on Road Trip Masters.
I'm Nick Kessler.
And I'm Brian Fulmer.
We're teachers that have a passion for travel.
Cruising the highways and byways in our 1968 drop-top caddy.
We discover the places and people that make this nation great. We are Road Trip Masters. This week, we're rolling down Interstate 95 to where the Susquehanna River meets the Chesapeake Bay, to the beautiful town of Havre de Grace, Maryland. This town was named after a seaport in France, and when translated, means Harbor of Grace. One can meander along its waterfront boardwalk or stroll down its picturesque tree-lined Main Street. It becomes clearly evident why Smithsonian Magazine named Havre de Grace one of the top 20 best small towns to visit. So it's only appropriate that we start off this road trip and check into the Vandiver Inn, a classic Victorian that emanates beauty to all who pass her by.
All right, guys, absolutely beautiful place, the Vandiver. Am I saying it right?
You are, Nick.
Now, I'm looking at the picture right behind us, the painting, I should say.
This is Murray Vandiver. Murray built this house in 1886 as a wedding gift for his wife, Annie. Yeah. Murray was the mayor of Havre de Grace. He was the state treasurer. So very powerful, very influential man, both in Havre de Grace and in Maryland state politics.
Well, I'm just dying to go check out some of these rooms here.
Absolutely.
All right.
Let's go take a peek.
All right, let's head upstairs. You look around, and here's that Victorian architecture. Tell us what room we're in.
We are in the Millard Tidings room, who is one of the big senators during the 50s. And I think that this room is, while traditional, pays homage to that.
You look at the bathroom in there, that peach orange bathroom. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, we think it was put in the 50s or maybe the late 40s. We call it bridal pink. This is a room that's used very often as a bridal suite, and we've just decided to go with the pink.
Well, I'll tell you, John, Susan, looking around and having a house myself with a ton of landscaping, I know the amount of effort that you two put into this. It's absolutely stunning.
When we first bought the place, this was literally just like a mud pit back here. And little by little, we've built the brick paving, we did the fencing, then we really started with the real landscaping, the flowers.
With a beautiful area like this, it seems like we need a drink to go hand in hand. And I haven't seen Brian in a long time. Don't tell me you have a bar in this place.
We might be able to find Brian very close to where we are serving a couple of nice drinks this afternoon.
Well, if he's having one, I want to have one. Let's go. I told you, John. Right there with the drink in his hand.
Why am I not surprised?
Hey, they told me this was a local town favorite. Budweiser and peaches.
Almost.
What do you got in that thing?
It's a super simple drink and very light and very fun for the summer. We do a little Pinot Grigio, a little bit of Spumante, and we top it off with just a hint of peach liqueur, and it seems to be a real crowd favorite. Salute.
Tell you what, salute. It looks absolutely fantastic. Man.
And it tastes even better.
Cheers.
Just a few blocks away from the Vandiver Inn is the Backfin Blues Creole de Gras. That's where Brian caught up with owner and head chef Bob to see what he's gonna cook up.
Chef, we're back in the kitchen.
How you doing? Welcome to Backfin Blues, Creole de Grange.
What do you have for us today?
We have an etouffee. It's a combination etouffee. It includes crab meat, crawfish, shrimp, and chicken.
Etouffee? Am I saying it right?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Sounds
sir.
fancy to me. So where do we begin?
Well, first what we're going to do is we're going to get ourselves a nice pan of hot oil, a little bit of andouille sausage, add the magic mirepoix, which is celery, onions, peppers, probably about 1 ounce of blackening season. And then what we do is we just wait for this to render. We want to sear the sausage, so that way we incorporate the flavors of the sausage in the pan. And then we'll add a little bit of stock to that, and we cook that off. Slow down your flame a little bit, add our 4 ounces of crawfish, 4 ounces of crab meat, and we mix that in. And in the process of this, we'll let it simmer for about 5 minutes as we're cooking the shrimp and the chicken.
When you're letting it simmer, what are you doing? Reducing?
Yeah, what we're doing is we're marrying the flavors. So you let it simmer, you let all the ingredients cook together, and that way you're getting all the flavors from the crawfish, the crab meat, the sausage, the vegetables. So what we do at this particular point, while the pan's heating up, we get some chicken and some shrimp, take some light seasoning, mix them together so that way it's all marinated together. Put them in the salamander, the broiler. Once the chicken and the shrimp are all finished cooking, what we'll do is we'll take the gravy and we pour it into a bowl to get every bit of ingredient in there. Put a scoop of rice on top, and then we're going to add our other broiled ingredients that we have cooking in the oven here. So that way you have your combination etouffee from Backfin Blues, Creole de Grange.
Wow, Chef, that looks incredible.
Thank you so much.
I need you to do me a favor. My buddy Nick is in there ordering us beers. I need you to whip one more of these plates up.
Well, we can do that real easily.
Here we are.
Wow. What the heck did you bring us out?
Seafood etouffee.
Etouffee?
Etouffee.
I'll tell you what, it looks absolutely gorgeous. Oh, man. Had to dial there.
And that smoked sausage?
Perfect amount of heat, buddy.
Absolutely. Hey,
cheers.
Another must stop.
And speaking about stops, Brian and I decided to hire a driver and take us safely back to the Vandiver. From chef to chauffeur, Bob does it all. All right, Brian, here we are. Captain Joey Job's Duck Decoy Shop. Are you ready?
I'm ready, but what I'm really ready for is Joey to test your skills as a master craftsman.
I got my hat. I'm ready to go. Let's go, buddy. Joey.
Welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Hey, and I smell sawdust in the air.
There's sawdust everywhere around here, I guarantee you, a lot of it too.
Yeah, you got this big block of wood. What the heck are we in for today?
Well, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this 5x7 piece of white pine and chalk it up in here to this machine, and we're gonna turn a blackhead body. We're gonna turn 3 of them. We're gonna make 3 decoys here right shortly.
So as Joey chucked up the duck decoy, I was ready to begin my journeyman experience, where I started with the spoke shave.
It's tough to get a hang of, and if you did that for 8 hours a day, by the end of the day, you'd have it.
I'm still horrible at it.
You look like you're doing it with a hatchet.
Here.
Okay, you're done.
I gotta admit, I had a huge sense of satisfaction watching Nick, the craftsman, struggle carving that body.
Next, we hit the bandsaw, getting this duck ready for the drum sander. But first, Joey hooked us up with a little lunch.
They're goose sticks with the mustard. Try one.
All right, we'll try one.
I'll have a.
Brian, here's a goose stick.
Thick.
All right, a little hot
Dip
mustard.
it in that mustard there. Get a bunch of it. There you go.
Soon enough, it was time to get back to work.
So there's where you're looking for.
Yeah, right. God, I'm almost turning like my whole body.
Don't, not up there.
Damn it.
There's where the head goes.
Just
come on, come up with it. When you do that, just come up with it.
Okay.
Come up with it. Try that way.
Don't feel bad, Brian. He yelled at me too during that step.
After the body was smoothly sanded down, it was time to trace and cut out heads for our duck.
No, you stop right there. Stop, and that's all right. Keep going.
After the head carvings are carefully fine-tuned, Bondo is used to secure the piece to the decoy's body, getting this baby ready for painting.
I want to show you this pair of decoys. It's a kind of special pair of decoys to me. It's my father's 1956 canvasbacks. This is some of the more collectible decoys my dad made back in the day. And that's my father in the bushwhack boat with these decoys.
Oh, get out. Look how many there are.
Yeah, there's probably 250 in that boat. Okay, let's paint it up. You ready?
Yeah, we're ready. This reminds me of watching Bob Ross.
I was just going to say
Yeah,
that.
you just got to throw it in there.
It's getting the paint all over you. It doesn't bother you?
No, not anymore.
So after Joey painted his decoy in record time, it was my turn to grab a brush and put my skills to the test.
I'll do underneath.
Paint's drying.
Reminds me
Paint's drying.
of the blouse
Come on,
smell.
the paint's drying and the air conditioning is not on.
Dude, it's hot in here.
Watch out, there's dust on that thing. Press harder.
Where's the black brush? I'm afraid
Right there
to
on
have-
the, this is your paintbrush holder. Here it is,
Oh,
right
okay.
here.
I can't do that.
Don't set it up yet.
Can I don't do that?
Turn it around the other way. Set it down.
Oh.
All right, leave it. You're done. Come on, put it on the shelf before you drop it.
Look at that baby. That's all mine.
After completing my course with a duck decoy master, Brian and I decided to delve deeper into the history of this Chesapeake Bay art form.
I still got the paint on my hands.
And I got the sawdust underneath my fingernails, which is kind of gross.
You know what? We have our new friend, Carrie. Carrie, where are we?
We are at the Havre de Grace Decoy Museum.
We just came from Captain Joey Job's, and we are surrounded by tons of decoys. What's the history?
Yep, Havre de Grace is called the decoy capital of the world, and there's some reason for that. We've got a lot of water right out there outside of our doors, beautiful water, which brings a lot of waterfowl here in the winter time. And as a result, many folks here in Havre de Grace started carving decoys to help all of those hunters attract all those ducks in for hunting purposes.
Walking around the exhibits, first of all, compared to the last place we were, a lot cleaner.
Yes.
But upstairs, the massive collection of decoys you have. Can you tell us about those?
Sure. The museum itself has about 2,500 different artifacts, between decoys to tools for carving, to boats, to firearms, to mannequins, as you guys have seen.
It's almost like a Hall of Fame in essence, because you do have it sectioned off per carver. And
Yes.
who are some of these carvers that are famous throughout the world, globally, that lived here in Havre de Grace?
Yep. Well, let's start with Madison Mitchell. He was a very big influence here in Havre de Grace, carved tens of thousands of decoys. But his bigger claim to fame is actually the fact that he mentored so many other carvers that came after him. Jim Pierce, Captain Harry Jobs, which would be the father of Captain Joey, who you just spent some time with, and his two other brothers.
Speaking of Hall of Famers, I see a baseball and duck decoy story right over there.
Yes.
What is that about?
Frank Home Run Baker, a famous baseball player who was from the state of Maryland, was a very huge, very avid waterfowl hunter. So we are very honored here at the Decoy Museum to have in our possession his entire rig of decoys that he hunted over, which is 263 decoys.
Next question. What's the most famous duck?
That's a great question. The most famous duck here is the canvasback duck.
Thought it was Donald.
No.
I knew it was coming. That is so cheesy.
I
yes.
don't have many duck jokes.
Yes.
That's it. That was the one I already used it multiple times.
With such a beautiful waterfront town like Havre de Grace, we just felt obligated to head out on the bay. And with the Chesapeake right at our fingertips, we decided to charter a boat and take a shot at fishing these waters.
We got Captain Steve taking us out. Captain Steve, what's the name of the boat?
No name.
All right, that's I don't know what to say.
It's no name.
Now I'm going to start here. I don't know that I'm going to end here.
So it was time to kick this fishing adventure off and start nailing some bay beauties. as Captain Steve was setting up. We were getting ready to start reeling them in, or so we thought.
Come on, bait fish. Come on, perch. Captain, did you ever just jump in naked for a swim?
Oh, yeah.
I thought the answer was going to be no on that.
I did too.
yeah.
I did too.
Be honest with you, I thought you were a pretty conservative guy.
Well, my
high moral values.
younger days, I might have been a little wilder. The situation isn't quite working as I had hoped.
So it was off to Captain's secret spot, and I had this feeling this was gonna be the honey hole. Sure enough, in no time, I was hammering fish.
Fish on.
Fish on. You got one?
Fish on.
Way to go.
Got him. Captain, I got him. Here he is. It's a beautiful perch. All right, baby.
Now we're talking.
As small as they were, I didn't care. After that, it was easy.
Two of them.
All right,
Two.
double header. Look at this guy.
All right.
Wow.
He's a little guy.
And Brian, he was not happy.
Brian, I will give you the honor of taking the rod now that I got to 5, if you would like to.
No.
Brian, would you like a try with my rod?
Negative. Huge negative.
I'll give you this.
No. So obviously either one of two things is happening is Captain is on Nick's side to win the fish count, or Captain entrusts me to catch the big one.
There he
Fish
is.
on, big
There he
fish.
is. There he is. There he is. There you
Right,
go.
Homer. Don't lose her.
He's coming towards me. Wow, is he fighting?
Don't lose the thing, Fulmer.
Oh, wow, it is. It's
Fulmer
blue
holds
cat.
in
It's
the
a
big one.
Is it a blue cat? Oh my God.
Got it, Captain?
I got it, man. I got it. I got it. Where's it? Oh my gosh.
What the heck?
Wow.
Wow.
Now what do we do?
Now we're going to put him in a cooler. Because he is going to be dinner for somebody.
We had a blast fishing with Captain Steve, but this is the Chesapeake, and our water excursion would not be complete without hitting the bay on a sailboat. The Chesapeake is mighty, grand, and beautiful. This majestic beauty has lured sailors and adventurers for centuries. One has to experience this natural wonder by sail and sail alone. And that's when we hooked up with locals Betty and Al, who own a sailboat named Summer Semester. And get this, they were ready to compete in a race and asked Brian and I to come along. With no racing experience at all, we agreed to come on board and help them sail to victory. And we were off, or at least we thought so. The wind that was there quickly disappeared, along with our dreams of healing through the Chesapeake Bay. And soon, we found ourselves adrift.
We're at 24.9 feet. We are going exactly 0.00 knots.
That's a first.
That's a record in my race career. Yeah, we're in dead zone. Are we shallow enough where Nick and I can get out and push us?
So we decided to change up tactics and try to lean Summer Semester to one side and inflate her sails.
Even the current will carry us down to D.
You think I don't have to worry?
Al was right. We caught the current, and lo and behold, we harvested some wind. All of us quickly sped into race mode and got Summer Semester back in the race.
I was just about to say that. We're pulling up. Set ramming speed.
We are gaining on all these other boats.
Damn the torpedoes.
This could get bad up here, though.
We were closing the distance at a rapid pace, and Brian and I could tell that Betty was getting a little nervous.
This is very touchy.
I don't want to hit them either.
I know I am.
Looks like we're gonna hit.
Come down, turn down, turn down.
I don't want to hit
Turn
these
down,
guys.
Betty. Turn down.
What do you want me to do?
No,
Scared, Bill?
We got an overlap. Turn down, Betty.
Turn down. Wrap. Ow. I need room at the mark, Sandy.
So if you recall, we were getting back into the race and catching up with the rest of the pack. But perhaps we were moving too fast. Before you knew it, it was all hands on deck.
Up this way.
Go up higher.
As Betty called out for an update,
How we doing?
we were tasked completing our orders.
4 feet.
Oh my God. Okay, but we need to do something with the sales, guys.
What do we got to do? Betty, you have plenty of room.
And sure enough, we pulled through and averted disaster on the high seas.
This is better than sailing. Let's loop her around and do it again. And Al just told me before, he doesn't know how to multitask, and he showed it there.
Although the wind was sparse, our racing experience was filled with adrenaline, anxiety, and emotion. Brian and I were just dying to tell our seafaring tale to someone, and we found just a spot, Coakley's Pub, where we ordered up a massive pile of Maryland crab, a couple of brews, and gathered up some new friends to share our stories.
Until next time, I'm Brian Fulmer.
And I'm Nick Kessler.
Stay curious, my friends.
Safe travels.
On this episode of Road Trip Masters, we roll into a town that was once known as the original western frontier of this great nation.
Brian, it was made by the guy who carved Mount Rushmore. Gutzon Borglum. I think I have it right. I hope you do. It sounds good to me.
And then take a tour of a foundry that has been putting history on a stick for nearly a century.
Sounds like fun.
We'll kick back some brews.
I don't tell people how to drink beer.
And partake in some of the fine delicacies that this place has to offer.
I can move.
So sit back, relax, and let us do the driving right here on Road Trip Masters. I'm Nick Kessler.
And I'm Brian Fulmer.
We're teachers that have a passion for travel.
Cruising the highways and byways in our 1968 drop-top caddy.
We discover the places and people that make this nation great. We are Road Trip Masters. This week, we're cruising through the beautiful rolling hills of the Mid-Ohio Valley to Marietta, Ohio. This town sits at the confluence of the mighty Ohio and Muskingum rivers, which is why many refer to it as the Riverboat Town. Marietta was the first settlement in the Northwest Territory. The Ohio Company of Associates founded it in 1788. This new settlement was named Marietta in honor of the French Queen, Marie Antoinette. It also served as a small but influential part of the anti-slavery movement in the 1800s. With the boom of Western expansion, Marietta was a key spot for shipbuilding, commerce, and settlers passing through. Marietta is a small town with big city charm, and we couldn't wait to check into the Lafayette Hotel and start exploring.
Nick, for this episode, I have a surprise for you. Hey, buddy, after navigating those asphalt waterways, this hat is perfect. I'm just glad I was able to dock the caddy safely.
While Brian struggled with the luggage cart, I went in and found Sheila.
Sheila, Lafayette Hotel, absolutely beautiful. Oh, I gotta remember my manners. What can you tell me about the Lafayette Hotel, the history?
The hotel was originally built in 1892. It was called the Bellevue Hotel. That unfortunately was burnt in 1916, and then they rebuilt it as the Lafayette Hotel in 1918.
Let's talk about some of the rooms. Usually when we get into these old hotels, they're very tight and small. But here at the Lafayette, really not the case, correct?
They're all done in the mahogany wood, so they've got the Victorian era look and feel. But some of the parlor rooms are a little bit larger. Then they also have the small, what we call cabin rooms, which mimic the, if you've ever been on the boats, the Mississippi Queen or the, it mimics that look there.
Oh, get out. So it's almost recreating that, what would we call them, paddle boats, steamboats, or?
Yep, sternwheel boats, yeah.
Sternwheel boats that would go right up and down the Ohio River.
Yeah.
Sheila, not only are the rooms absolutely stunning and gorgeous, but you take the lobby down there. You take the hotel bar, the restaurant. All these beckon everything, like you said, a century ago.
The bar that's in there is Amish built, so that was brought to us years ago. And then we just did a room renovation on the gun room, and we went in to keep the old look and feel to the gun room. So where we have the sternwheel memorabilia and just keep the history there.
Thank you so much, Sheila.
You're welcome.
Absolutely
Thank
beautiful
you.
hotel. Can't wait to check it out. The main street, the river, everything about this town. Now I got to put my captain's hat on there.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
So after Brian was done unloading the cargo, we decided to shove off in our land yacht and chart a course for Siwa Studios to find out what they mean by making what they call history on a stick.
All right, Brian, here we are, Siwa Studios, and we have Brad. Brad, what are we going to experience today? What's out on the factory floor? What does Siwa Studios do?
Siwa is the historical marker manufacturer here located in Marietta, Ohio. We handcraft each marker, try to do 6 a day. We like to say 120 words or less is a nice little history story for you.
I'm curious to learn more about these metal textbooks.
All right, man, let's go see how it works.
I like that, Brian. Let's go.
Brad, I'm not a shop teacher. My buddy is, but looks like we're in the pattern room.
That's right, guys. We're in the pattern room where it all starts. What we're doing here is we're just cleaning up or constructing brand new patterns to ready to go into production.
They're carving these out individually and spiking them down, so there is a small amount of woodwork in a metal historical sign business.
Yeah, all these channels are put here for a reason. We basically carve and cut and mount these down so we can channel the molten down these paths into the product and create this casted marker.
All right, where are we off to next?
Cool, let's go over to the typeset department and we'll learn how to glue letters down and get our spelling books out.
All right, let's go.
Over in the typesetting department, Brad gave us the rundown on the typesetting process, from assembling the letters to gluing them down. This is where these metal textbooks go through the publishing process. Brian even got a chance to do a little typesetting of his own. After the glue settles, it's time to take these molds into the foundry for the casting process.
This is our foundry. It's a cast aluminum foundry where we're running 2 production lines on your right. All right. What the guys are working on is they're on the second side of their second project. Basically, the gentleman over there tamping, that's exactly what he's doing. He's trying to get all the sand tamped down so when we turn it over, it all doesn't fall out, right? So we're trying to make impressions. We'll then turn it over. We'll pull it away. Once we pull it away, we have an impression, which is the actual first side of their second side already cast.
So right now, like you said, they're making that second half to put on top.
That's right.
And then we're going to be ready for the pour.
That's right. That's right.
All right, I get it.
Yep.
Did you know the sand used for this process is called green sand, which is harvested from the banks of the Ohio River? Next come the 25-pound ingots made from 100% recycled aluminum. The metal comes out of the furnace at 1,350 degrees, where it is poured into the fiber ladle and carried carefully over to the casting flask. A smaller ladle is used on the other side of the mold to ensure proper flow and prevent any open voids during the casting process. After the pour, the 2 halves of the mold are split open and the marker is revealed. The sand is shoveled off and kicked out of the casting flask, where it'll be used for the next day's work. The aluminum cools to room temperature in about an hour, where it heads to its next journey, the grinding room. Here, the markers are cleaned up from any imperfections and casting flaws are corrected. But I'll let Brad explain a little bit more what goes on in this department.
This is where really all the time is spent, in here digging out and polishing and keeping these letters, like rebuilding them, so to speak. Each department, like I said earlier, is like its own business, like its own job family that are all uniquely related. However, the disciplines are totally different. So these guys, I think, sometimes are the magicians, if you ask me. They're taking things and like totally, creating something that wasn't there.
After the grinding room, these markers go through a series of powder coatings that apply the base color for the finished product. Then it's off to the ladies in the detail department to put on the final touches.
All right, here we are. Final step.
Final step. This is where the magic happens, where they come alive, we like to say.
You know, the one thing I love, Brad, you got women in here. They're more patient. and they're more detailed than any man on the face of this earth.
I think he's got it figured out.
Yes.
These guys are artists. They're passionate about what they do. It's no other place in the world that I see the beauty that comes out in this.
After the paint dries, it's off to shipping, where they are packed and boxed up and sent out to a hometown near you.
Brad, thanks so much. Absolutely incredible process, what you got going on here. Thank you for your patriotism.
Bet, man.
For all of us to enjoy throughout the country. Brian, there's only one thing left to do. Brad, we need some gas. Will you drive us there?
Let's go.
We're not used to having a driver, but Brad handled the caddy extremely well. So after filling up at the local gas station, we decided to fill up at the local watering hole, the Havre Tavern, where we kicked back some beers, shared some stories, and chowed down on their famous pork roll sandwich.
There's one thing that this small town's not lacking, and that's restaurants.
Sounds to me like my first mate here needs a trip to the galley.
Sounds to me like Captain Kessler sure does love using his nautical terms. With around 30 restaurants to choose from in just a 3-block radius, Marietta has an abundance of dining choices. From charming pubs to lively taverns, this town has it all. The one place that really caught my eye was the Buckley House restaurant, which was built in 1879. This is where I caught up with Master Chef Ahmad. Ahmad, we're back in the kitchen. What do you have for us today?
Beef tenderloin kebab with colored onions, and I'm doing couscous.
All right, Chef, where do we begin here?
We're beginning with the beef tenderloin here. I want to marinate them. Olive oil.
Oh, yeah.
And we put some salt, okay? And a little pepper, cinnamon. Put a little curry here, a little cumin, a lot of garlic. People love garlic. And we marinate it. And after that, we skewer it with wet skewer, then burn the oven, and peppers, and I try the visual here, red, beautiful. There you go.
There we have it. Beautiful.
Beautiful. Put on the grill. And we keep it a couple minutes on the grill both sides. And it depends on temperature, medium, medium rare, or well done. Well done, we keep it in the oven for a long time.
Couple days.
Exactly.
Now, Chef, as this is on the grill, what else are we doing?
Okay, I want to do couscous here.
All right.
Okay. I'll start with the couscous. Olive oil. I dice my vegetable. Okay. A little salt, pepper, a little curry powder, and a couple bay leaves.
Yeah, Chef, you have this down. My head's spinning.
I love it. And this is the base. The vegetable ready to go. And I put the couscous now.
Now, how long with the couscous?
The couscous will be done in a minute. And here my own demi-glaze. I get my own tomato sauce here, and I put curry.
What kind of sauce?
Cumin, tomato sauce.
Okay.
Tomato.
Yep.
Okay, and salt and pepper. Done here. Vegetable done. Tomato sauce ready. Couscous a minute.
Well, now I know how you're in such good shape. You're constantly
thank
moving.
You. Okay. You want me to finish it here? Guys, you eat it medium rare, okay?
Absolutely.
Okay. And what we do always, we plate our couscous
first.
Yeah. Okay.
So you're putting it in the mold.
Mold, yeah.
I normally do that when I make sandcastles.
We go in the middle here, the plate. That's that.
I almost
and
want
after
to put
that,
a flag on top.
Yep. You put the vegetable around the plate. Okay. Put demi here, up the bottom. There you go, demi glaze first. That's the kebab. There you go. One here. Around the couscous, and beautiful. And we put that again, demi glaze.
And you're putting it right on top of the meat.
On top of the meat, on the bottom of the meat. There you go.
And there we have it. Chef, I can't wait to eat this, but I need a favor from you.
Yes.
My buddy Nick is waiting for me. I need you to whip one more of these up, and the way you cooked and the speed you cooked it with, I'm sure it's only going to take you a minute.
I'm ready.
Thank you, Chef.
Oh, you're welcome. Anytime. Thank you.
Permission to sit, Captain.
Permission granted, First Mate Fulmer.
Permission really not needed.
Hey, this thing looks fantastic. I heard a lot of commotion back there.
Oh, you should have been back there with Chef. That guy can move.
What do we got? Looks like filet mignon.
A little kebabs.
All right.
What a great place.
Excellent. Buckley House. That's an A+, buddy.
Cheers. One of the great things about this city, everything's in walking distance.
Yeah, you take this walking bridge right here where the Ohio and the Muskingum River meet.
What a great view.
Absolutely.
That's right. The Havre Bridge was once part of the mighty B&O Railroad. Originally constructed as a swing bridge, it now serves as a pedestrian walkway that connects the town of Marietta to the historic Havre Village, located on the other side of the Muskingum River. There are many stops along the Marietta River Trail where you can get up close and personal with the surrounding beauty, and the views spectacular. Or you can take in many of the unique features along this 3-mile-plus trail and meet some fantastic people, like this man who was carving a tree. We just had to meet him.
And your name is Pearl.
Pearl, yes. Pearl Totman.
Totman?
Yes.
T.O.
First a tot before a man. That's the easiest way to remember.
And this isn't the first tree that Pearl has carved. He has many to his credit along the path. But our trail excursion would not be complete if we didn't pay homage to a memorial that was dedicated to the town of Marietta by Franklin Delano Roosevelt in 1938.
All right, Brian. Another stop, the memorial to the start westward.
Made out of sandstone.
You know what? You're a geologist, buddy, aren't you?
I just read the plaque.
And how about this plaque fact? It was actually made by the guy who carved Mount Rushmore, Gutzon Borglum. How'd I do?
Sounded better than I could do. That's a tongue twister.
It was fun taking in the sights on the trail, but it was time to unwind and let our feet carry us to our next port of call.
Yeah, Brian, this is what road tripping's all about.
Absolutely. Best part, we get a chance to see signs like this. That's a spot I want to go to.
You know what Captain says? Carry on. Who are we with, Brian?
Tony.
Nice to meet you guys.
Tell us about Marietta Brewing Company.
So we're a full-service brew pub. We brew the beer that we're about to drink right here in-house.
Every beer we're going to take right out of those tanks.
That's correct.
Tony, which one are we going to start with first?
All right, we'll start with our Cooper's Copper Ale.
All right. It almost has that bourbon color.
Yeah, well.
Man, it's beautiful when you hold it up to the light. Absolutely gorgeous. Now, you taste the hops, but it's not offensive. For a guy like me who doesn't like those strong beers, it's smooth.
It goes down smooth. On a hot day, I see just coming in here after a bike ride, after a walk.
Absolutely.
Now, look at mine. Grab yours, Tony, please. Let's compare. Now, put up Brian's.
There we go.
Well,
is this the proper way? Is Brian doing it right, or are we doing it wrong?
That's how drinkable it is. I don't tell people how to drink beer.
But it doesn't stop here, because you have something else special here, and that's the food.
That's right. Tony set us up with an arsenal of dishes to devour, like the Brewhouse Pizza, an ale-braised Philly sandwich, a spinach and artichoke dish, a portobello Gouda burger, and our favorite, the Cuban pulled pork sandwich.
Now, is that citrus sauce on there, or do we got to find somewhere to dip?
It's on there. Look at that.
Oh, yeah.
Look at that. Captain can't help himself.
No. Captain should calm down.
I couldn't calm down, because this place knows how to treat a captain and his first mate.
Hey, Captain approves of this.
Tony, thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Tony, I can't even shake your hand. I got my burger and everything's all messy. Sign of a good dish.
That means we had a good day.
You're damn right.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers, Phil.
I can't even cheers.
Cheers.
Since we're in a riverboat town, it was only befitting that we get on the water and make our way onto the Valley Gem, a reproduction stern wheel boat that navigated these waters over a century and a half ago.
Before we get on the boat, I want you to know I got you a little something.
Ah, pipe. Perfect for a captain.
With my hat and pipe in hand, we were granted permission to come on board, where we met the real captain of this vessel, Jason.
Brian, I've always wanted to be on one of these ships. Jason, you have an incredible history on the Valley Gem.
It's a family business. My dad started this when I was little. We built up the business with a small boat, and then we needed a bigger boat, so we built this one.
Sounded like Jaws. We're gonna need a bigger boat.
Yeah, pretty much. My dad designed it. My brother and I helped build it. We had one gentleman who welded the entire thing by himself.
You're looking at nights, weekends, every chance you had.
Yeah, it took 18 months to build. The gentleman who welded the boat together, he said, yeah, we packed 2 years worth of work into 18 months. So
All right, Brian, 2 captains on board. Looks like we got to get this vessel underway, first mate.
Looks like we're top heavy with people in charge. Can't wait to see how this ride goes.
So Brian got his first order, to untie the figure-8 cleat hitch knot. Second order, don't fall into the river. But I have this feeling he has one more thing up his sleeve.
Nick, if you're going to be the captain of an old school paddle wheel, you need to look more the part. That's why I got you that and an old school beard.
Quite befitting for a paddle boat captain.
It was incredible being on the Valley Gem, cruising the Muskingum and Ohio rivers just like they did in the 1800s. And Brian, he was tasked on his third order, looking out for any danger on the water.
Hold on, Captain. Snag on the starboard side. Snag. Dead ahead. Way up there. Permission granted.
For what? To hit it? Unclear?
I couldn't thank Captain Jason enough. For that one moment in time, I was a riverboat captain.
All right, first mate Brian, another successful road trip.
I would say so too.
Until next time, I'm Captain Nick Kessler.
And I'm Brian Fulmer. Stay curious, my friends.
Safe travels.
If you would like to find out more about Road Trip Masters, then visit roadtripmasters.com. It's your behind-the-scenes look and inside guide to all the places we visited. And who knows, maybe we'll be the reason for your next adventure.